Dave, I want to check in with you first. A report dropped shortly before recording that there might be a Master of None season three coming out. What do you make of this?
Highly skeptical because this reporting is from a UK based website called Chortle and was only picked up by Collider, none of the more reputable Hollywood trade publications. So this is hardly been sourced, honestly. It's really take it with a grain of salt kind of news. But from what those people are saying, uh, Aziz and Alan Yang were actually trying to get this shot on the down low back in spring 2020 when, before plans changed, of course. So either way, if we were to get a Master None season three, I feel like everyone who's a fan of the show would be very satisfied, no matter what it is, what form it is, just because it's been so long since season two, and um, it's such a fun show and unique show, and uh, I haven't been holding on to hopes that we're going to get it anytime soon. So I actually would be kind of surprised if we did turn out to get it in the near future.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of TV shows starting to look at the effects of COVID, right? And John Wilson's How To on
Yeah.
HBO, probably the one that comes to mind as really capturing that moment so distinctly. And obviously, Master of None being a fictional show involves having scripts that are a little bit more written and fleshed out. But it'd be really interesting to see someone like Aziz tackle that transition, that shift from being a more a show about like experiencing the world, especially season uh, two, venturing off to Italy and kind of
Hmm.
driving through the countryside, as you can see with Dave's background, him and his friend on the mopeds on the
Yes.
countryside. It's really cool, but to kind of see that become a little bit more uh, look like an introverted look at the the effect that COVID had could be a really interesting thing. Especially if shooting did actually start in spring and then had to be halted or shifted in some way. And Aziz seems like the kind of guy to do it, and especially because Aziz over the last couple of years has become a little bit more out of the spotlight after
Mm.
the sexual abuse allegations in 2018. He obviously did the stand-up special in 2019 that we reviewed. Check that out on youtube.com/nostalgiapod. But I think he might actually be a good person to tackle this and look at the pandemic and how it affected people in interesting ways. So that could be an interesting thing to come out of it. But I'm with you. I'm a little skeptical on if this is actually happening. I would love it to though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, along those lines, with Aziz having in real life be living in London of late, says that season three would be set in London, and also that Naomi Aki would be joining the cast. Again, don't know how these people know this, so I again, don't get your hopes up, but maybe in a few weeks we actually get something more substantial, or Netflix even announces something officially. But until we get that, I'm not gonna put too much stock into this. But it's the first real buzz of any variety, real or fake, that had any kind of legs to it, I'd say. So, and we know
Yeah.
that Netflix did not cancel the show, and they had stood by Aziz, and of course they released his special right now. So we know Netflix was happy to make season three once Aziz wanted to make it, and I believe he said he wanted to be at a different stage in his life to make that season. You could tell this was a show that was very personal to him.
Mhm.
And even the evolution between the first two seasons, you could tell that him, and I assume Alan as well, would want to continue that kind of feel. So I have to imagine Aziz feels in a different spot now, like many of us do after 2020. So I guess
Definitely.
it makes sense. But yeah, let's wait for more news first.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated on that. So hit that subscribe if you're watching on youtube.com/nostalgiapod or soundcloud.com/nostalgiapod.